this is the time to work with one of the most important features of our portfolio, which is the actual model, the actual form to get our visitors to contact us. So yes, we are going to do that basically once the user press the let's chat or the get in touch or the now more buttons, well, we are going to show a model. And fortunately for us, Level Jetstream already comes with a modal component. You can check it out here, essentially the modal, which is a huge component. It has a lot of functionality out of the box. All of that working for you, the look and feel, the dynamic components, the way to open it, close it, etc. So yeah, we can focus essentially in three different things, or only one in fact, which is how are we going to show that specific model, how we are going to activate. So well, you can see that, for example, once we click here, we are going to call a function called close. And the vShow is something coming dynamically from something called show. So yeah, this element is closable. We can close it, as you can see. It's essentially activable. It has something called a trigger, and we can use that to enable our component. In this case, the component is a model. You can see here the properties are show, max width, closable, and by default it is true, so we can define that. And the show is essentially the value that is going to define if it is going to be visible or not. By default, of course, it is false, and once we press the button, we are going to change that specific value. So that means that all of things are working perfectly right now for us. So that means essentially that we just need to define what is going to be inside. And we have, yeah, the slot here, and that is going to be visible only if, well, the component is visible through the show property that we have here. So inside this specific model, we can put anything. For example, a form with the elements to get a user contacting us. So let's use it and see how it works. For that, we need two different things. Of course, the first one is to import the definition of jet model. So we are going to be here, jet model, coming from Jetstream model, and of course we are going to put this here after our definitions. This is of course jet model. Once we have that, we can use it into our components, but remember, we need a way to decide if it is visible or not. So that means that we will have, let's say, a property, but it is not an static property. It is going to be a property that is going to change in execution time. So it is not going to be in the props. It is going to be in a new component into our, well, defined component called data. So after the methods, we are going to have a new one, which is data. This is a function, once again, that is going to return an object with a set of data that we need. In this case, we only need one, which is, let's say, contacting. Could be anything. This is your trigger, contacting. And by default, this is going to be null. Perfect. So that means that if contacting is null, we are not going to show the model. But if it is true, and we can change that once we press the buttons, we are going to show the model. So that means, so yeah, we need to go to one by one if on our buttons and say that contacting is going to be true if we receive a click there. So let's go to our buttons. We have one here, jet button, and we are going to see, in this case, after the class property, a new property, which is gonna be, of course, add click. Add click is going to receive, so what we are going to do, what action are we going to execute in the JavaScript world once we receive a click from the user. So in this case, we are going to say that contacting is gonna become true. And we are going to do exactly the same in all the other buttons that we have. So let's go there in the one for skills. So we have this here. Let's to put this correctly. The same here, just to be a little bit organized. Let me to modify this here as well. Here it is. And finally, we are going to do the same in the case of the button of let's chat. So we have essentially the same. And here it is. So every time that we receive a click on any of those buttons, we are changing contacting to true. And now we are going to define our model, saying, hey, okay, there is a model, a jet model. We already have the component for it. Let's put that almost in the bottom of our welcome view after the section of links. So we have jet model. Here it is. And inside the model, we are going to put something small just to verify, saying let me know some details. And let's put some styling for this right now. This is going to be a text gray of 600. It's going to be a little bigger with 2XL. Here it is. It's going to be in the center and with extra bold. There it is. But essentially, we are going to assign a div for this. So let's put this inside with a corresponding styling inside the model. So let's add a class. We are going to say that the background is going to be grade, almost white. In fact, background grade of 50. Here it is. And we are going to add a shadow 2XL. This is a new component for us. This is a big shadow and a padding of 8 to make a big border to our components. And now, very important, we need to define the conditions to show this specific model. So we have the show property. You already remember that from the coding, saying that this is going to depend on the contacting. If contacting is true, so we are going to show it. Now, for some reason, we just need to be sure that this is closable. So we are going to use closable as true. And finally, we are going to say that at the moment that this specific component gets closed in some way, if the user press away or press the ESC key or something like that, we are going to say that our contacting property is equals to null again. So if everything is okay, we should be able to go to our browser. So let's get there. Let's refresh. And if you press it on Let's Chat, for example, there you have. Let me know some details. And we can press escape. And you can see how can we close it, or if the user press here and press away, not here, but away of the specific model, this is closing as well. So we have this now, we have the model working perfectly fine, but now let's create the form inside. So this is gonna be a little big form, so let me copy and paste that for you, and of course I'm going to explain that after the actual paragraph that we have here. So let's go back to our component here. We have here in the model, and let's put this here. So let me organize just a little bit the indentation. Here it is. So we have a form which is going to be distributed using a flex column. Using the items, this is going to be only one column. The items are going to be in the center, and we have a padding of 16. Perfectly, we have a perfectly defined border inside the form. So then we have a jet input. Yes. New component of Jetstream input. If you check it out, you have essentially all what you need for an input with the border gray, with the focus, with the emit of the update or not to change the values or model that. We are going to see that in following classes. So essentially we can use it, but of course we can define our own styles. We have one for the email saying that this is a padding X with a padding weight and a specific width, the border with the color and rounded. And this is, of course, for the email with the corresponding placeholder. And then we have a text area. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a Jetstream component for text area, so we need to define this directly, essentially with the same padding, with the same width, same border. But of course, this is going to be for the message, and the user can share here the details. And finally, we have the Jet button, saying, okay, this is just a small button with the rounded Excel, the corresponding padding, and so on. You already know all of this to say get in touch. Now, before to get this working, it means that we need to import that new component, which is Jet input. So let's go here. We have Jet model. So let's use that exactly the same for input. Of course, let's make sure to get the A on uppercase. And of course, to use it exactly here after Jet model, for example, we have Jet input, and that essentially, oh, of course, this is not going to work. This is just going to look and feel good, but we are going to take care of the following class of the functionality in the following section, in fact. So let's go back here and refresh. Let's to be sure that everything is working properly. Let's to press any of those buttons, and here it is. Your email, the details, and of course, get in touch. You can see how it is not working now because we are not sending nothing. And yeah, we are going to take care of the functionality of this form in the following section. We are going to take care of the validations. We are going to take care of actually sending an email from that, getting in touch, and all of that. Essentially, we are going to be moving a little bit to the backend finally and get it working properly together with Inertia.js. So see you that in the following section, because at this point, we already have perfectly functional this. We have perfectly functional our form, and we can bring this to life with the corresponding security and validations in the following section. See you there.